The word is used too commonly in rap music. Is taking something from out of the private sphere and bringing it to the public. Something that not necessarily should be shared with the public.
There's a lot of different kinds of rap music. Some is more socially conscious than others. I make a distinction between hip-hop and rap music. I think when it's used in a socially conscious hip-hop song, then it's fine. I think when it's used in more of a mainstream song, that it's probably not being dealt with on any real intellectual level and that it shouldn't be used.
The major question that lies before us is this. Is the fact that perhaps 100 black people at this point have become millionaires through this denigrating material worth the impact that it's had on black youth and on American society and on the international image of younger black people?
Well, I believe it's basically done already changed for younger people. I don't believe it's changed for people that's like in their 40s or in their late 30s. I don't think that the meaning nigger to them mean the same thing that it means to a younger generation.
A lot of young people today don't know too much about what that word means. A lot of people die due to that word.
I think it done set us back 100,000 years because that was a word we was trying to get around back in the day.
My grandmother uses it like that nigga over there, or that's a funny nigga, you know, and I don't know, when she grew up, that was the word she was fighting for.
The derogatory connotation and meaning of it still sits poorly with my spirit, my soul.
So are you personally conflicted about the use of this word? Because nigga is used on all your records.
Yeah, I'm personally conflicted, definitely. But you know, everything that I make isn't for kids, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's just more about, in that respect, it's about, you know, the parents explaining it to the kids if they're going to let the kids listen to certain things. You know what I'm saying? And make sure it's used in the proper tense. Even though there is no proper tense for the word nigga, you know what I'm saying?
One day, a nigga caught in his hand a little star, no bigger than not to understand. I'll never let you go until you've made me white. So she did. And now, stars shine at night. E.E. Cummings, one day a nigger.
I was in Tower Records one day, a few years ago, and I heard these guys say, yeah, this nigga said so-and-so to me, and that nigga said blah, blah, blah. And then I told that nigga boom, boom, boom. So I turned around the aisle because I was getting ready to say, look, man, what's wrong with you guys, right? I turned around the aisle, and there was a bunch of white guys with caps turned backwards and, you know, the oversized T-shirts and their pants about to hit the ground. And I said to myself, something's not correct at this moment.
So you want to know why we call ourselves niggas?
So you actually use that term niggers? Isn't that a derogatory term? I mean,
Nigger is a derogatory term. Niggas isn't.
Now, who the heck can tell the difference? I mean, that's just nonsense. I think it's a defense. It's to try to defend what they're doing, to say it's okay and we're on to some special thing here that you don't understand or appreciate.
I mean, the G-A-E-R syndrome. And if you hear E-R, you know, it's like, what? And if you hear G-A, somehow the thought is that there's some in rhythm, in understanding of how it's used.
And they don't understand the persecutorial sense of the word. They think that it is cool. You know, I mean, you got Mexican kids calling each other that. You know, you got white kids calling each other. You got Chinese kids. And it all boils down to, you know, to the music, you know, and the culture and rap music and everything.
You know, some of them feel like they are niggers because they love hip-hop. So hip-hop's become its own race and culture. Like, they don't necessarily think they're black, but they think they're a nigger because it's hip-hop.
You know, that happens to me more often than you think. That a white kid will walk up from you know, who's a fan of hip-hop and says, yo, my nigga, what's up? Just wants to be your friend. Just wants to speak your language. His intention is not to demean you.
It's sort of like the new hip-hop pronoun, you know what I'm saying?
FM 98 WJLB, your number one for hip-hop.
The word still carries power to me.
The N-word.
MC Serch used the word a full time, but as he got hipper, didn't think it was worth it because there were some people who misunderstood his intention. But if his intention is only to endear himself to you or to be, you know, to be in, and I see it all the time, it never phases me. So of course, you know, that's just me being open-minded, but it's also this next generation will be open-minded.
Regarding whether white kids are able to use the N-word because it is so common in the whole hip-hop culture, I don't know whether I would feel it comfortable. It does obviously lend itself to just a whole, why can't I use this because I'm part of this whole culture. But at the same rate though, I don't feel that they have the ability, they don't have the day-to-day education of being in that race and having the prejudices.
Hip-hop culture is this whole thing, and a lot of people want to be a part of it, you know, even when they're white, and a lot of people, you know, from the white suburbs want to be a part of it. They see there's a lot of parts of the culture that are really attractive.
I don't think it's a very positive word. I think it's a little bit degrading. I think it has a bad history. For a white person, I think it does. I hear it a lot in hip-hop and stuff like that in Australia. And usually the artist would be a black American, I guess. So I guess they have the right to the word. I feel they have more of a right to the word than a white man.
I get very offended because I do have black friends, and I would never use it regardless, like to say to a white friend or a black friend, so I don't feel that it's right to use the word at all.
A lot of people don't, like a lot of black people don't really care if white kids use it just because it's really common now. So if you say it in like a mean way, then I think it would bother people, but most people feel like, oh, what's up my nigga? Most people wouldn't really care.
It's used by a lot of young people, I guess, on the street to try and be cool and try and copy American culture. A lot of ethnic groups. We have a lot of Greek, Lebanese.
I have imitated the use of the word in its context, like based around like a conversation, including it, you know, repeating something someone said or something that someone might, I think, thought, repeating lyrics to music. But I do feel comfortable using the word if I feel comfortable with what I'm saying.
If you can flip that word, that bastion, horrible, powerful word, and flip it to having something that has affection and is harmless, then you can flip anything.
So, nigger is a word that was probably put down 300, 400 years ago when we got off a boat, and you had a marketing campaign turning around in a 15-year hip-hop period. That's crazy.
So I think that what we're witnessing is not so much the transformation of the term to something positive. It's a defense of the term when they're now up against the fence, up against the wall. You know, when rappers are being criticized for using the term, they are coming up with some kinds of explanations or excuses to explain how it has this other meaning. And they're also in a strange situation where they're trying to defend young people, not all of them, but some people trying to defend, you know, young white kids, you know, who are insisting on their right to use the term.
Yes, I do believe it is appropriate to use the word nigger because everyone uses the word nigger, not just white people, not just black people. Nigger has become a word that we should all think about and know about and learn about. And it's just a word, nigger.
The word nigger is just as normal as any other word. I mean, there's black people, there's niggers, there's black people. It's all equal. I think it should all be used the same.
I think it's a double standard to say a certain group of people can use it in a certain context, but you know, a white kid shouldn't. I mean, that's just setting a double standard. And I mean, I think the rap community has to take that burden upon themselves so that if they're going to say that word and use it explicitly in their lyrics, they have to be willing to deal with the consequences of white kids. And I'm not saying that's a good thing for white kids to be saying the word, but I mean, it's a consequence. Even if it's unintended, the rap community needs to address that. And if they don't like that, then they need to do something about their lyrics.
By allowing hip-hop to use the N-word, yes, we are allowing white kids to use it because they do purchase various hip-hop albums. They do support the genre, so by them purchasing it, they can use the words that they purchase.
I think it can be problematic to allow white kids to use the word because we're using it in hip-hop. But I do think that it allows white kids as well as other kids of color to have a space where they can talk about these issues. So if it's inciting these kind of, or instigating rather, these kind of discourses, then I think that it's useful in some ways.